right, well, I'm Katie Page. Today we are going to look at Gemini and kind of dive in a little bit. We'll start with some basics and then look at it live. So while I'm seeing a few more people popping on, if you want to open another tab on the Google Chrome, if you're in Chrome, the window you're in, go ahead and open a tab and go to gemini.google.com. And you should be logging in with your district credentials, because we are going to play around live a little bit. I'll show you a few things, and then I'm going to have you go ahead and go take a look so we can make the most out of our half hour together here, 28 minutes left together here today. So when you log in, this is what you should be seeing. Those of you that opted in for the paid version of Google Gemini should see Gemini Advanced in the upper left-hand corner. We don't have Word yet, but I am hoping that next year the entire district will have the advanced version as well, which would be great. I am not making promises. I don't know what's going to happen. I can tell you these platforms are not cheap. But the great news is next year you're going to be able, EA staff, you're going to be able to use your perk funds to purchase, if you want, the paid version of Gemini, ChatGPT, and 2 others. We're going to message that out in May to make sure that we've got everybody up and running right away in the fall. So this is what the window should look like for you. And a couple of things I want to show you right away is in the lower left-hand corner. Again, if you have the paid version, you can attach files, which is great. And then the good news is, even if you are on the free version, which is totally fine, in ChatGPT, which is, they're like sister platforms, you can attach in ChatGPT on the free version. So you can think about these ideas, even if you don't have the paid in front of you today. You can do these same things on ChatGPT by adding. So when you click the plus in the bottom window there, and I'll go back a second, I see a few more people are joining, where it says enter a prompt for Gemini down on the bottom. You see the little plus there. You have an option to attach all sorts of things, and you can use that as part of your prompt. So I'm sure some of you have been doing that already. I would say right now, if you have that tab open, go ahead and click on Drive and make sure you're connected to your Google Drive. It should automatically go there if you're logged in with your 214 credentials, but just take a quick look. When you click on Drive there, you should see your Drive pop open like you just opened your Google Drive, which is nice. Also, today, please feel free to unmute and ask questions. I want this to be collaborative. This is a very relaxed, casual environment. We're just checking some things out. So I don't want to go too fast. I don't want to blow past. If you've got questions, please unmute and let me know. So yeah, you're connected to your Google Drive, which is amazing. So you can just attach a document that you're giving to students. Let's say you want to differentiate, and you can just go straight to your Drive and choose that file and then prompt it to differentiate for kids at a lower reading level. You can translate it into a different language, you name it. However you want to prompt Google Drive there. After it's attached, which is great. If you have something that's downloaded, like a PDF, you can just attach a PDF. It can read that. It can read images. Sometimes I'll take a screenshot of an image and load it, and it can read the screenshot. We did a workshop with staff where we were writing on white pieces of paper and sticking them up, the giant Post-it notes. If you do that with kids, you could have kids submit an image, just take a picture of it with their iPad and submit it. And you could load those images and have it summarize, what kids did, or have it summarize the image for you to see if the information they put there is what you were looking for. So very, very dynamic once you can start to attach files while you're prompting. And so you can see here, I decided to attach a Google slide. By the way, here is my slide deck. I put it in the chat. And so if you want to go to, I am on slide 58. This is my What's New in AI slide deck that I've had going all year. And I do have an example there, and actually I can show it to you as well. And it's kind of cool. What I did was I put in, let me go back here. Let's switch what I'm sharing. Oh, it's pretty easy to switch tabs too. I'm learning how to use Google Meet for those of you that are just getting here. So I'm playing around with that as well. So this is the example that I linked you to here, but I'm showing it to you as well. So I attached my Google slide again down here with the plus in Drive, and I told it to go ahead and look at the slide deck and give me some suggestions for improvement. And so it read the slide deck about AI and plagiarism. And then it told me some impressions. It told me how I could improve. There's some visual appeal, maybe to change the consistency. It saw a little overcrowding on a slide, you know, etc. And then down here, I said, can you generate a more compelling image for slide 2? Because the chatbot said, how about if you have something that's, you know, a better image? And it said, sure. And it went ahead and it looked at some options, like how would you want this to look? And I said, I like your option number 3. And then it went ahead and generated an image for me for option 3. So it's kind of fun. Like if you just want to punch up something that you're doing, you can have it take a look and analyze it for you, you know, and decide whether or not you agree with what it's saying. Obviously, we always want the human in the loop. And so that's just kind of a neat use case for that, is to have it analyze your message, your slide deck, or really anything you attach. Okay, again, I attached a PDF here, and this was a picture, and I asked it to summarize the attached PDF of the Apple Learning Technologies survey and provide any insights from the data. So if you're taking a survey from students about something, you're doing prom themes, you know, or whatever it is, you can ask it to analyze and give you insights from the data. And I actually didn't even have a Google form here or a Google Sheet. I just had a snapshot of something that Apple shared with me. And again, asked it to take a look at it, and it did. And so I went ahead and here it is. I attached the PDF. I prompted it, summarize, provide any insights, please. And it gave me an analysis of all of the data that was on the PDF. So it's pretty good. It doesn't need a spreadsheet to do that. So it summarized it for me. It gave me some insights from the survey data. It was pretty useful because it was a couple pages of data, and it just made it quick for me to understand what was shared with me. It's kind of nice. All righty. Questions so far? Feel free to stop me or unmute. Okay, this is something that is new, and I don't know if you've been using this at all. ChatGPT has a similar function. It's called Canvas. So again, down by the plus that is in your Google Gemini, there is a part there now where you can work. It'll pop it up sort of like it's a Google Doc, and you can read what the result was after you prompt the chatbot, and you can go ahead and right within edit. So you can highlight the response, edit, change it. A little window pops up so that you can tell it how you want it changed. You can say, you know, switch the example for this, and right in real time, it will fix it in the middle of the prompt. You don't have to regenerate the entire prompt. So let's take a look at that. If you have that tab, your Gemini tab open over here. So what I did is I said, help me write a short opening speech for open house so I can introduce myself to parents. And when I put that into the prompt, I made sure this canvas down here was blue. You got to make sure that it's highlighted. And then when you prompt it, it opens in a window over here. And if you look, I can edit this. I can delete, you know, I can type here and write in, you know, live. And then you can prompt it as well. So I can prompt it over here to, again, to fix what's going on. You can suggest edits here. So I can highlight. So I'm within this little canvas tool. I'm going to go over here to where it says suggest edit. And it's going to put the suggestion. It's not displaying right here on my screen. Give it 1 second. So it gave an edit right there. And oh, there it is. Sorry. Down here. And it said how it edited the text. And you can have it apply here or not. You can X out of it. And so it makes it so much quicker. I found this helpful when I was writing college recommendations because I would put in a whole bunch of information. It would spit it out. It didn't sound like me. And I would go back in, and this was a great way to just edit on the fly. Okay, go back and switch. You can also send it to docs. So within that same window, you can export to docs. You have all the editing tools, maybe not all the editing tools, but you have some of the editing tools there if you want to change up the text or bold or, you know, that sort of thing, which is great. Okay, there's another one here that's new. It is called Deep Research for those of you that are having, maybe you yourself are in class, or if you want to have kids do a little research. Now on the free version, I don't believe this Deep Research pops up, but I wanted to show you what this looks like. Again, oh, it's down. Let me show you. I can't switch as quickly as I would like to switch between screens here. So let me do a new chat here. It's down here. So when you do a new chat, it's on the bottom under Deep Research. Okay. And it's pretty great because as you prompt it to do some research for you, it tells you what websites it is looking at, and it starts to compile the list as it goes, which is really cool. And I shared the link with my slide deck. You can take a look at that if this interests you. And they've got, you know, live examples there right on Google's site to show you how it works. But I like that it gives you the list of all of the places that found the information as it's going through. And it looked at like maybe 40 or 50 sites of the one prompt that I put in. So thought it was pretty neat. I'm not sure exactly, like for my teaching experience, I was trying to think through like how I might use this, but maybe as a student, I would have loved to have this tool. Okay, and then this I think you're going to really love for your classes. This is where I think AI is going in the future here for us as educators, is creating these custom GPTs. And so right now, when you prompt Google Gemini or Chat or any of them, it's going into its giant bucket of information and picking things out based on what you asked. And what you can do with the gem is you can create your own bucket. So you can put in your class notes, your research, your websites that you want it to reference, your PDFs of articles or your textbook, you know, whatever you're going to attach to this gem. And then when you go in to prompt it, it will only pull from that instead of pulling from the whole of OpenAI or the whole entire bucket from Google Gemini. And so let me show you, I just made a quick one for myself. And I would like for you to go ahead and click on this on Gem Manager over here. Make sure you can see that. Is it not switching? What are you seeing on your screen, Paul?
I still see option 1, interconnect. It's still Gemini Advanced. I'm not seeing any switch over on that. Yeah, I don't see like the Gem Manager pop up or anything.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
You seeing it now?
Yeah, I moved over. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, guys, stop me if you're not seeing what I'm showing. Okay, so if you click on Gem Manager, it's over here on the side. There we go. You'll see it gives you some examples on the top. If you hit Show More, it'll give you some other things there, which is kind of nice. One of my gems is here, and then to create a new gem, you would look on that little button there that says New Gem. And when you click on New Gem, you can give it a name. You're going to prompt it, like you're going to say, I'm a teacher of 11th grade students in a high school, and I'm teaching, AP Lang, and, you're going to prompt it and let it know who you are, what you want it to act as. And then under the knowledge base is where you add all of your own materials, so that when you are prompting this gem, it is only pulling from your things. For example, maybe I want to put together a review sheet for kids for the final exam. I don't need it going out onto the planet Earth to find information for this review sheet for my test. I only need it to reference the things that I have taught or provided for kids. So if I've got all of those in my own personal gem, my own bucket, it'll create the review sheet just from what I've attached. So they call that a custom GPT, and here they're calling it a gem. And so I went ahead and just tried for 1 unit, and I just called it physics kinematics. And when I open it here now, I am only prompting my gem. And so if I go back a second here and I hit edit, you should be able to see what I added. I added all the documents that the kids worked on and a key for the review, because I was just going through this quickly just to see how it functioned. And then I went ahead and prompted it here. You teach regular, levels to juniors. They have average math skills, average reading skills. You're going to be a tutor and a homework helper. Like that. And so I can prompt it here and say, give me some practice problems that involve graphing. And then it's going to go ahead and pull from just my documents. And it's got some examples here. So this is where I think we will be headed as educators, is creating, like, for our teams, custom little buckets, to pull from, which is, I think, kind of cool, right? Because you're controlling it now, and you're just putting in there what you've created or what you want kids to see. Okay, let me go back here. See if it actually follows what I do this time. Yes, it did. Okay, and then lastly, we did just put ChatGPT and Gemini apps into self-service. If you have your iPad ready, you can take a look at that and pull that for yourself onto your own iPad if you're going to be having students using Gemini or Chat. A couple things I want to point out. Kids have the free version. They do not have the paid version. It is not embedded across all of their Google Workspace at all. They're not going to see that little star at the top. Gemini is for teens, is a completely different platform. So there are controls on the back end on this particular version of Gemini for kids. And I want you to encourage students to be logging in with their district credentials, because then they are housed under our educator umbrella, which as far as safety goes is much better. It's not going to let them generate images. It limits responses that are coming back to them. It will flag like inappropriate prompts that go in. You know, and it'll talk right back to the kid and tell it like, I'm not going to prompt that, you know, that sort of thing. And so it's a nice, safe way for kids to start to, you know, venture into using generative AI appropriately. And I'm curious, actually, if you wouldn't mind putting into the chat, if you have used Gen AI with your students, or if you plan to use with your students this school year or maybe next school year. If you could just dump into the chat real quick, like, no, I'm not using it. I don't plan to. I'm thinking about it. I've already used it. Could dump that in the chat. Oh, that's great, Carrie. Citations for essays. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Natasha, I get it. You know, trying to get the hang of it. For sure. You could ask your students probably too for help. I'm sure some kids are really, you know, ahead of the game in using, but I don't know. I bet there are still students that are not diving in as much, just like as adults. Some of us are using it more than others. You know, we're more intrigued how those things can work. Okay, I would invite you to go to your Gemini tab and play around a little bit. And if you would please unmute if you have questions or comments or anything for the good of the room here, I think that would be great. And we can take a look at some things together.